Blog Talk Radio.
Call my home, study war no more, live in shalom. Only 144,000 of Jacob will make it in. Is Christ your friend? No need to pretend. Here's the question: did you walk in faith or did you walk in sin? Did you keep the law or did you pick and choose? Did you tell the truth about who's the real Jew? There's no excuse, you had the clues, but you closed the book and turned on the news. And when Christ breaks the sky, every satellite will fall from space, hit the earth and die, and then fight after disaster from the master. Puzzle faces looking for the rapture. True, the dead in Christ provides birth so they can walk in heaven here on earth.
American dream, a family, a dog, a picket fence, and house that is clean. That's to the habit, it's just led me astray. The root of evil is money, it ain't the most highway. 144,000 will bask in his glory. Life is an apartment building, cause it's more than one story. I accepted the most high, and what was I on? Data past like Mike, and I'm the future like LeBron. I follow the commandments, cause the most high said so. Red Bull and Xbox and get your wings in a halo. My people is blind, and it's making me sick. Just because you repent ain't putting you on that list. Ain't no cutting the line, ain't no paying the dough, man. Don't matter if you're rich or whether you're poor, man. If you're obedient and you're filled with the faith, then the upper room will be your final resting place, and that's heaven.
The throne of the Father, you still sinning, don't even bother. You not going if you follow John Carter. A little Wayne, he another Carter. Came from Obama, back to Jimmy Carter. America, not Babylon, it's just the daughter. Told us looking bitches that shine like 3/4. Son's gonna die, you make me call a martyr. So elevate your mind and it cross expansion. I want a room in a heavenly mansion. Don't try to figure it out your path, don't let it choose you. You can play it back, I'm not trying to confuse you. Poetical prophet, truth set me the gifted. Cerebral technician, the microphone I lifted. Think you using faith to get in, you can save it. Signing off quad to 6-foot David.
Let me tell you what it feel like. Real right, so I'm back in the feel like. Examine yourself before the judge come in the heat of the night like O'Connor. So I'm gonna show you how to live it when I spit it through the spirit. Hope you feel it. This is the spirit that teaches when you hear it. So when it's death there, it's death there. So don't step there. But self-rearrange and let the most high change you, my brother. That's what I utter with them dead bone tang. You them the strange fruit that used to hang. Now spitting out truth for the youth to change. To see us like heaven. When them guns down, when the word is your weapon and the Lord who you reppin'. Not Baal, but our master in heaven. And there's no more jails for the nation. That's heaven. Yes, that's heaven. Heaven.
And it's the music of the Israelites right here on the Men Empowered Radio Show. You can find them at JEWEDuP.com. That's www.youtube.com. Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to you and yours, wherever you are on the World Wide Web. You are listening to Let's Talk, brought to you by the Men Empowered Organization on the Blog Talk Radio Network at blogtalkradio.com. My name is Malachi. I am your host for another edition of Let's Talk. It is a It is a March the 10th, 2013, and that brings us to Sunday evening at 7:05 now. If you set your clocks right, you should have spring forward, and it is now 1 hour earlier than normally we broadcast. So if everything's right, it is 7:05 on your clock, Central Standard Time. If you'd like to join in on our show conversation while we are here live, you can hit us up at 347-205-9279, or you can chat with us right there in the chat room at Blog Talk Radio. So if you are ready to make a comment, you can press 1 on your phone, and we will plug you into our show conversation. And as always, our office here at the Men Empowered Radio Show is offline at area code 504-484-9388, as well as our email address is menempoweredtoprosper@yahoo.com. And yes, we are Men Empowered at not MySpace. We are on MySpace, but we are Men Empowered at Twitter.com. Okay, tonight's show is we are going to begin the Book of Jasher, chapter 23. And I have my lovely and beautiful and talented wife, Amy Jo Heron. She will be coming in shortly, and she is our official reader for the Book of Jasher. We are going to begin in a few moments, momentarily, after we take a quick music break, the Book of Jasher, chapter 23. Quick announcements I want to make is we're starting a new work in the state of North Carolina, in the Winston-Salem as well as the Greensboro area. We are right now getting an office there set up in that High Point area, the metro area of Greensboro and Winston-Salem. We're going to get a good work started up there and do a lot of promotion. So for more information on that work, you can hit us up right now at our email address. That is menempowered of North Carolina at gmail.com. All these emails, I got to get them all straightened out and sorted out and everything. But that's Men Empowered of North Carolina at gmail.com. Okay, for more information on that, you can shoot me an email, or you can direct your email, all emails, to menempoweredtoprosper@yahoo.com. And if you want to strictly go ahead and do the North Carolina, someone in that office will go ahead and take care of those messages for you. Well, we are back with just about under 46 minutes left right here. We are going to try to go ahead and finish the Book of Jasher, chapter 23, and the Book of Jasher, chapter 24. Hopefully we can get through with those. Want to let you know also that we are on YouTube.com. You can check out the Men Empowered Organization and its broadcasts as well as videos put in by my good friend at JEWEDuP. JEWEDuP, just look for that particular subscriber, JEWEDuP, and you will definitely look at all the Men Empowered Organization. I want to thank my brother for doing those. And also you can listen to us on iTunes as well as all the radio feeds at Blog Talk Radio. So wherever you are online, you can definitely listen to the Men Empowered Organization. Want to go ahead and bring in my lovely wife, my helpmeet, Miss Amy Jo. How are you as you go ahead and greet
everybody.
the people?
Just want to give you a shout out there, Radio Land, this afternoon. Hope you all had a great weekend, safe. We had some beautiful weather here in the Hattiesburg, Mississippi area. But I just want to greet you guys this evening before I start reading, help me out tonight. But
All
anyway, we're going to
right.
start with Jasher, chapter 23, verse 1.
Okay.
At that time, the word of the Lord came to Abraham, and he said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. And he said to him, Take now thy son, thy only son, whom thou lovest, even Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which shall be shown to thee. For there wilt thou see a cloud and the glory of the Lord. Verse 3, And Abraham said within himself, How shall I separate my son Isaac from Sarah his mother, in order to bring him up from a burnt offering before the Lord? Chapter 4 says, And Abraham came into the tent, and he set before Sarah his wife, and spoke these words to her. Verse 5, My son Isaac is grown up, and he had not for some time studied the service of his God. Now tomorrow I will go and bring him to Shem and Eber his son, and there he will learn the ways of the Lord, for they will teach him to know the Lord, as well as to know that when he prayeth continually before the Lord, he will answer him. Therefore, there he will know the way of serving the Lord his God.
Okay, hold up, just right
Okay.
there, Amy Jo. Want to let you all know we read in Jasher chapter 22 last week. We talked about and we heard that Isaac opened up his mouth and he talked about this sacrifice out of his mouth. And the Most High had heard that, and now he's putting Abraham on the spot, just like Isaac opened his mouth and said. So Isaac, when Isaac understood this, when he was going up to be the sacrifice, he knew, he got revelation of what he had said, and he knew that it was going to be all right on that. But see, in Genesis, we didn't know anything of that. But the book of Jasher kind of fills in the gap and just kind of let us know what and how was he able to go up there without any kind of hesitation. Okay, Amy Jo, you can go ahead and continue.
Verse 6, And Sarah said, Thou hast spoken well. Go, my Lord, and do unto him as thou hast said, but remove him not at a great distance from me, neither let him remain there too long, for my soul is bound within his soul. Verse 7, And Abraham said unto Sarah, My daughter, let us pray to the Lord our God, that he may do good with us. Verse 8, And Sarah took her son Isaac, and he abode all that night with her. And she kissed and embraced him, and gave him instructions till morning. Verse 9, And she said to him, O my son, how can my soul separate itself from thee? And she still kissed him and embraced him. And she gave Abraham instructions concerning him. Verse 10, And Sarah said to Abraham, O my Lord, I pray thee, take heed of thy son, and place thine eyes over him. For I have no other son nor daughter but him. Verse 11, O forsake him not. If he be hungry, give him bread. And if he be thirsty, give him water to drink. Do not let him go on feet, neither let him sit in the sun. Verse 12, Neither let him go by himself in the road, neither force him from whatever he may desire, but do unto him as he may say to thee. Verse 13, And Sarah wept bitterly the whole night on account of Isaac, and gave him instructions till morning. Verse 14, And in the morning Sarah selected a very fine and beautiful garment from those garments which she had in the house, and Belich had given to her. Verse 15, and she dressed Isaac her son therewith, and she put a turban upon his head, and she enclosed a precious stone in the top of the turban, and she gave them provision for the road. And they went forth, and Isaac went with his father, Abraham, and some of their servants accompanied them to see them off the road. Verse 16, and Sarah went out with them, and she accompanied them up on the road to see them off. And they said to her, return to the tent. Verse 17, and when Sarah heard the words of her son Isaac, she wept bitterly, and Abraham her husband wept with her. And their son wept with them a great weeping. Also those who went with them weep greatly. Verse 18, and Sarah caught hold of her son Isaac, and she held him in her arms, and she embraced him, and continued to weep with him. And Sarah said, who knoweth it, if after this day I shall ever see them again? Verse 19, and they still wept together, Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac, and all those that accompanied them on the road with them. And Sarah afterward turned away from her son, weeping bitterly. And all her maid servants, returned with her to the tent. Verse 20, and Abraham went with Isaac, his son, to bring him up as an offering before the Lord, as he commanded him. Verse 21, and Abraham took two of his young men with him, Ishmael and the son of Hagar, and Eliezer, his servant, and they went together with them.
Well, we are back. We had some technical difficulties in Studio B1, where my wife is, but we are going to go ahead and continue, and I will go ahead and continue and do the elaboration as well as the revelation and the reading of the book of Jasher, chapter 23. We're going to go ahead and start at verse 20, where she left off just about. And Abraham went with Isaac his son to bring him up as an offering before the Most High, as he had commanded him. Verse 21, and Abraham took two of his young men with him, Ishmael the son of Hagar, and Eliezer his servant, and they went together with them. And whilst they were walking in the road, the young men spoke these words to themselves. Verse 22, and Ishmael said to Eliezer, now my father Abraham is going with Isaac to bring him up for a burnt offering to the Most High, as he commanded him. Verse 23, and when he returned, he will give unto me all that he possesses, to inherit after him, for I am his firstborn. This is what Ishmael thought. Verse 24, and Eliezer answered Ishmael and said, surely Abraham did cast thee away with thy mother, and swear that thou shouldest not inherit anything of all he possesses. And to whom will he give all that he has, with all his treasures? But unto me, his servant, who has been faithful in his house, who has served him night and day, and has done all that he desired me, to me will he bequeathed at his death all that he possesses. Verse 25, and whilst Abraham was proceeding with his son Isaac along the road, Satan came and appeared to Abraham in the figure of a very aged man, humble and contrary spirit. And he approached Abraham and said to him, art thou, or Brutus, that thou goest to do this thing this day to thy only son? Verse 26, for the Most High gave thee a son in the latter days, in thy old age, and wilt thou go and slaughter him this day, because he committed no violence, And wilt thou cause the soul of thy only son to perish from the earth? Verse 27. Dost thou not know and understand that this thing cannot be from the Most High? For the Most High cannot do unto man such evil upon earth to say to him, Go slaughter thy child. Verse 28. And Abraham heard this and knew that it was the word of Satan, who endeavored to draw him aside from the way of the Most High. But Abraham would not hearken to the voice of Satan. And Abraham rebuked him so that he went away. Now you see this, Abraham rebuking Satan in the Old Testament. Verse 29. And Satan returned and came to Isaac, and he appeared unto Isaac in the figure of a young man, comely and well favored. Verse 30. And he approached Isaac and said unto him, Dost thou not know and understand that thy old silly father bringeth thee to the slaughter this day for naught? Verse 31. Now therefore, my son, do not listen nor attend to him, for he is a silly old man, and let not thy precious soul and beautiful figure be lost from the earth. Verse 32. And Isaac heard this, and said unto Abraham, Hast thou heard my father, that which this man has spoken? Even thus has he spoken. Verse 33. And Abraham answered his son Isaac and said to him, Take heed to him, and do not listen to his words, nor attend to him, for he is Satan, endeavoring to draw us aside this day from the commands of the Most High. Verse 34. And Abraham still rebuked Satan, and Satan went from them. And seeing he could not prevail over them, he hid himself from them, and he went and passed before them in the road. And he transformed himself to a large brook of water in the road. And Abraham and Isaac and his two young men reached that place, and they saw a brook large and powerful as the mighty waters. Verse 35. And they entered the brook and passed through it, and the waters at first reached their legs. Verse 36. And they went deep in the brook, and the waters reached up their necks, and they were all terrified on account of the water. And whilst they were going over the brook, Abraham recognized that place, and he knew that there was no water there before. Verse 37. As you can see, Satan is trying to put a hologram before Abraham. Verse 37. And Abraham said to his son Isaac, I know this place in which there was no brook, nor water, nor therefore it is this Satan who does all this to us, to draw us aside this day from the commands of the Most High. Verse 38. And Abraham rebuked him and said unto him, The Most High rebuke thee, O Satan, be gone from us, for we go by the commands of the Most High. Verse 39. And Satan was terrified at the voice of Abraham. He went away from them, and the place again became dry land as it was at first. Verse 40. And Abraham went with Isaac toward the place that the Most High had told him. Verse 41. And on the third day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place at a distance which the Most High had told of him. And a pillar, verse 42, and a pillar of fire appeared to him that reached from the earth to heaven, and a cloud of glory upon the mountain, and the glory of the Most High was seen in the cloud. Verse 43, and Abraham said to Isaac, My son, do thou see in that mountain which we perceive at a distance, that which I see upon it? Verse 44, and Isaac answered and said unto his father, I see, and lo, a pillar of fire and a cloud, and the glory of the Most High is seen upon the cloud. Verse 45, and Abraham knew that his son Isaac was accepted before the Most High for a burnt offering. Verse 46, And Abraham said unto Eliezer and unto Ishmael his son, do you also see that which we see upon the mountain which is at a distance? Verse 47. And they answered and said, we see nothing more than like the other mountains of the earth. And Abraham knew that they were not accepted before the Most High to see with them. And Abraham said to them, abide ye here with the ass, whilst I and Isaac my son will go to yonder mount and worship there before the Most High, and then return to you. Verse 48. And Eliezer and Ishmael remained in that place as Abraham had commanded. Verse 49. And Abraham took wood for a burnt offering and placed it upon his son Isaac. And he took the fire and the knife, and they both went to that place. Verse 50. And when they were going along, Isaac said to his father, behold, I see here the fire and the wood, and where there is the lamb that is to be the burnt offering before the Most High. 51. And Abraham answered his son Isaac, saying, the Most High has made choice of thee, my son, to be a perfect burnt offering instead of a lamb. And Isaac said to his father, I will do all that the Most High spoke to thee with joy and cheerfulness of heart. Verse 53. And Abraham again said unto Isaac his son, is there in thy heart any thought or counsel concerning this, which is not proper? Tell me, my son, I pray thee. O my son, conceal it not from me. Verse 54. And Isaac answered his father Abraham, and said unto him, O my father, as the Most High liveth, and thy soul liveth, there is nothing in my heart to cause me to divide either to the right nor to the left from the word that he has spoken to thee. Verse 55. Neither limb nor muscle has moved or stirred at this, nor is there in my heart any thought or evil counsel concerning this. Verse 56. But I am of joyful and cheerful heart in this matter, and I say, blessed is the Most High, who has this day chosen me to be a burnt offering before him. Verse 57. And Abraham greatly rejoiced at the words of Isaac, and they went on and came together to that place that the Most High had spoken of. Verse 58. And Abraham approached to build the altar in that place, and Abraham was weeping, and Isaac took stones and mortar until they had finished building the altar. 59, verse 59. And Abraham took the wood and placed it in order upon the altar which he had built. Verse 60. And he took his son Isaac and bound him in order to place him upon the wood which was upon the altar, to slay him for a burnt offering before the Most High. Verse 61. And Isaac said to his father, bind me securely, and then place me upon the altar, lest I should turn and move, and break loose from the force of the knife upon my flesh, and thereof profane the burnt offering. And Abraham did so. And verse 62. And Isaac said to his father, O my father, which when thou shalt have slain me and burnt me for an offering, take with thee that which shall remain of my ashes to bring to Sarah my mother, and say to her, this is the sweet-smelling savor of Isaac. But do not tell her this if she should sit near a well or upon any high place, lest she should cast her soul after me and die. Verse 63. And Abraham heard the words of Isaac, and he lifted up his voice and wept with Isaac. Isaac spoke these words, and Abraham, tears gushing down upon Isaac his son, Isaac wept bitterly. And he said to his father, hasten thou, O my father, and do with me the will of the Most High our God, and as he has commanded thee. And the hearts of Abraham and Isaac rejoiced as this thing which the Most High had commanded them, but the eye wept bitterly, whilst the heart rejoiced. Verse 65. And Abraham bound his son Isaac, and placed him on the altar upon the wood. And Isaac stretched forth his neck upon the altar before his father. And Abraham stretched forth his hand to take the knife to slay his son as a burnt offering before the Most High. Verse 66. At that time the angels of mercy came before the Most High and spoke to him concerning Isaac, saying, O Lord, thou art merciful and compassionate King over all thou hast created in heaven and the earth, and thou supportest them all. Give therefore ransom and redemption instead of thy servant Isaac, and pity and have compassion upon Abraham and Isaac his son, who are this day performing thy commands. Verse 68. Hast thou seen, O Lord, how Isaac the son of Abraham thy servant is bound down to the slaughter like an animal? Now therefore let thy pity be roused for them, O Lord. Verse 69. At that time the Most High appeared unto Isaac and called to him from heaven and said unto him, Lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything up unto him, for now I know that thou fearest the Most High in performing this act, and is not withholding thy son, thy only son, from me. Verse 70. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, a ram was caught in the thicket by his horns. That was the ram which the Most High had created in the earth in the day that he made the earth and heaven. Verse 71. For the Most High had prepared this ram from that day to be a burnt offering instead of Isaac. Verse 72. And this ram was advancing to Abraham when Satan caught hold of him and entangled his horns in the thickness, that he might not advance to Abraham, in order that Abraham might slay his son. Verse 73. And Abraham seeing the ram advancing to him, and Satan withholding him, fetched him and brought him before the altar, and he loosened his son Isaac from his bindings and put the ram in his stead. And Abraham killed the ram upon the altar and brought it up as an offering in the place of his son Isaac. Verse 74. And Abraham sprinkled some of the blood of the ram upon the altar, and exclaimed and said, This is the place of my son, and may this be considered this day as the blood of my son before the Most High. Verse 75. And all that Abraham did on this occasion by the altar would be exclaim and say, This is in the room of my son, and may it this day be considered before the Most High in the place of my son. And Abraham finished the whole of the service by the altar, and the service was accepted before the Most High, and was accounted as if it had been Isaac. And the Most High blessed Abraham and his seed on that day. Verse 76. And Satan went to Sarah. He's trying everything in his power to get him off of the will of the Most High. Excuse me. Verse 76. And Satan went to Sarah, and he appeared to her in the figure of an old man, very humble and meek. And Abraham was yet engaged in the burnt offering before the Most High. Verse 77. And he said unto her, Does not thou know all the work that Abraham had made with thy own son this day? For he took Isaac and built an altar and killed him and brought him up as a sacrifice upon the altar. And Isaac cried and wept before his father. But he looked not at him, neither did he have compassion over him. And Satan repeated these words, and he went away from her. And Sarah heard all the words of Satan, and she imagined him to be an old man from among the sons of men who had been with her son, and had come and told her these things. And Sarah lifted up her voice and wept and cried out bitterly on account of her son. And she threw herself upon the ground, and she cast dust upon her head. excuse me. And she said, "O my son Isaac, my son, oh that I had this day died instead of thee." Okay, we left off at 79, verse 79. We're going to pick back up there with just a few minutes left, and looks like we're going to save chapter 24 for next Sunday. We will continue off on there. Verse 79, and Sarah lifted up her voice and wept and cried and out bitterly on account of her son, and she threw herself up on the ground, and she cast dust upon her head, and she said, "O my son Isaac, my son, oh that I had this day died instead of thee." As she continued to weep and said, "It grieves me for thee, O my son Isaac, oh that I had died this day in thy stead." Verse 80 of the book of Jasher chapter 23. And she still continued to weep and said, "It grieves me for thee, after that I have reared thee and have brought thee up. Now my joy is turned into mourning over thee. I that had a longing for thee, and cried and prayed to the Most High, till I bare thee in at 90 years old. And now hast thou served this day for the knife and the fire to be made an offering." Verse 81, "But I console myself with thee, my son, in its being the word of the Most High, for thou didst perform the command of thy Most High. For who can transgress the word of the Most High, in whose hand is the soul of every living creature?" Verse 82, "Thou art just, O Lord, our God, for all thy works are good and righteous. For I also am rejoiced with thy word, which thou didst command. And while my eyes weep bitterly, my heart rejoiceth." Verse 83, "And Sarah laid her head upon the bosom of one of her handmaids, and she became as still as a stone." Verse 84, "And afterward rose up and went about, making inquiries till she came to Hebron. And she inquired of all those who she met walking in the road, and no one could tell her what had happened to her son." Verse 85 of the book of Jasher, chapter 23, "And she came with her maid servants and men servants to Kiriath Arba, which is Hebron. And she asked concerning her son, and she remained there while she sent some of her servants to seek where Abraham had gone with Isaac. They went to seek him in the house of Shem and Eber, and they could not find him. And they sought throughout the land, and he was not there. And behold, Satan came to Sarah in the shape of an old man. And he came and stood before her. And he said unto her, I spoke falsely unto thee, for Abraham did not kill his son, and he is not dead. And when she heard the word, her joy was so exceedingly violent on account of her son, that her soul went out through joy. She died and gathered to her people." Verse 87, "And when Abraham had finished his service, and he returned with his son Isaac to the young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and they came home. And Abraham sought for Sarah and could not find her." This is verse 88. "And he made inquiries concerning her, and they said to him, She went as far as Hebron to seek you both where you had gone, for thus she was informed." Verse 89, "And Abraham and Isaac went to her to Hebron, and when they found that she was dead, they lifted up their voices and wept bitterly over her. And Isaac fell upon his mother's face and wept over her. And he said, O my mother, how hast thou left me? And where hast thou gone? Oh, how hast thou left me? And Abraham and Isaac wept greatly, and all these servants wept when with them on account of Sarah, and they mourned over her a great and heavy mourning. Now, we're going to pick this up at 24, but you can see how just a false lie can react you doing the wrong things. How a lie turned this woman's life into tragic. Well, my name is Malachi, and we are going to continue the Book of Jasher next Sunday right here again on the Blog Talk Radio Network. So until next time, we will see you all next Sunday. And don't forget, we are here again on Tuesday for CSI Crime Scene Investigation. I want to apologize for last week for my absentee. We were kind of under the weather a little bit, but I think we're getting over it, and all praises to the Most High. We will get well, and we will do well, and we will continue to broadcast, as the Most High always will give us breath in our soul and bodies. We will continue to do the work of the Most High. Be blessed.